Hi guys! Today we are going to do these round boards. You could turn them into trays, you could turn it into a game board spinner, a clock. There are so many things you could do. We're actually going to do the video on this one with all the different colors of paints because it has a little more to it. So let's just get started. So to start this project, I am using this 14-inch circle wood board. It's probably about a 1/4 inch thick, and this is about a charger size, so that gives you an idea. And all I'm going to do is do my base coat and paint the whole thing in this off-white color. So we're just going to let this dry and then move on. So I painted this and I did a little extra. I did another coat just in the center. I know this edge will be covered with something completely different. After we've painted this, we're going to use our stencil to make some guidelines. This off-white is going to be one of the colors I'm using in this, and that's why I started with this. I am going to center my stencil on this board, and I'm really going to just eyeball it, and I'm looking at my 4 corners, so they're about the same. And I could do an exact measurement, but I'm not going to. So what I'm going to do next is each one of these triangles here, I'm going to use 4 different colors: red, off-white, blue, and then a goldish tan. So I want to draw my lines. So the first thing I'm going to do is just draw this outside line. And then what I'm going to do is draw this line in between these two. So it looks like we're having pie-shaped pieces. So what I'm going to do now is paint the red, the blue, and the tannish gold. Okay, so I have mixed some colors up. I wanted more of a barn red and a soldier blue, and this hand gold, and then I have my off-white. So if you don't have the colors you want, you can always mix some of your colors and come up with exactly what you want. I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna do red. This is gonna be my white. This is gonna be my blue, and this is gonna be my tannish gold. So I'm just gonna paint that and that red. Start with that. Let me just dry this up and start the next section. Okay, so now I am gonna do my blue lines. This one's gonna be white, so I don't even need to touch that one. And if you just wanna freehand it, you can just freehand all this. So I'm not too worried about this edge because we're going to be masking the circle off and then doing an outside color too. So whether you freehand or tape it off, it's really your decision. So I'm using my stencil as a guide. I traced this outside circle on a piece of plastic. I cut a little bit smaller than this circle. And I'm gonna use this as a template to do my outside edge. So I had traced that, I cut it out of a piece of plastic. Or you can cut it out of whatever you would like. Then I am just going to line this up on here, and once again, if you don't want to do this, you could just draw around it and freehand it off. So whatever you would like to do, and then you're going to decide what color you want to use. I am going to paint it, just don't want it super wet close to where the stencil is or it will bleed through. Going out that way. I just want to make sure it's covered really nicely. I am going to let this dry. So I sprayed the back of this stencil with pixie spray. It's a repositionable adhesive spray, and with so many little teeny tiny pieces, and I'll be going up and down, I just don't want them to bounce. Now when you see when I'm lining this up, I took my little center circle here and put that over the center of there, and then moved these around until I got them where you can see the 2 colors in between this line, or very, very close to that. Now I am actually going to stencil this. I'm going to use black paint for my numbers. I'm using my heavier stencil brush, and I'm using black paint. Now I'm putting paint and loading it on my brush, but then I'm tapping off. Do not want this too thick or it will bleed through. Do an up and down motion. Let's see how we did. So now that this is all dry, I am just gonna add a little crackle to this. And these are the things that you can do, don't do. You can finish this however you would like. Now I'm gonna put a little distressing on this. And then I'm going to seal this, and I'm just using a polyacrylic water-based sealer. So the distressing ink I'm using is water activated, but even with the sealer, it can also move it. So that's why I like using this. I am gonna let this dry, and I'm gonna add a few transfers to the outside edge, but you could add anything. You could stamp words, you could add sayings, you could just add handles and use it for a tray, but I think we're gonna do a few transfers. So I'm gonna add some transfers, but I think I'm gonna do part of a stencil on here also. So I'm gonna start stenciling some words, and I'm going around this. Once again, load my brush with paint, tap it off. Okay, we're done with the stenciling. Now we are going to add our transfers in. So I've cut out some of my transfers that I'm going to use. I'm lining them up on my board. I'm just gonna burnish this down. I'm gonna put one more seal on it, and we are done. Okay guys, I hope you had fun with this. Here is another one I did. I just used one color, so it made it so much easier. So you could turn this into whatever you would like, depending on the colors you use and the words you use. You can see this one, and I think to myself, it's a carnival wheel. Okay, so I just sat here and laughed to myself for 10 minutes over that. I thought that was so funny. But you could drill a hole in the center, put a spinner on it, you could put handles on the side, turn it into a tray. You could use it as a charger, or you could just hang it on the wall, whatever you would like to do. So we'll have some links below where I got the stencil at. We had used some of the IOD transfers. But whatever you do, hope you try this out and have fun.